where's my guitar pick? Where's my guitar pick? Here we go. Here we go. All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. This is Texas Garden Guy, and it is Thursday evening, and this is the Garden Party. This is the garden. I always mess it up. I can't. I've
You
always
had it.
advocated
You
for something.
had it.
Okay, here we go. This is the garden party, and we want a garden party with you. We talk about the plants we grow and some things you might not know. The garden party. All right, Phil, go ahead and introduce yourself, dude.
What up, everybody? It's your favorite fig parent and plant parent, Phil from Phil's Figs. Back again.
One of these days, I'm gonna get that down the first time, dude. The
No
first
worries.
time.
One of these days, I'm going to introduce myself. Be like, get started. I'll be like, and it's Dustin Nowak.
I've heard. You did very well, Phil. Thank you, man. And I of course am Destin Nowak, Texas Garden Guy. We have a very special guest with us today from Just Dig It Farms out of Alabama, Mrs. Tracy Britnell.
Right, you said it right.
I said it right. I am my last name is notoriously mispronounced,
Yeah.
so I go at lengths to make sure I pronounce everybody else's name. But yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, heck yeah, I'm excited. This will be fun. I'm always about a garden party.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're in the right spot.
Yep.
Well, you've been making content for a while now, and you have a homestead.
Yeah.
We give everybody who may not be familiar with Just Dig It, like a little bit of background on what y'all do.
Okay. Yeah, we purchased 18 acres about 7 years ago now, and we have honeybees, we have goats, we have chickens, we have dogs and rabbits, and a whole bunch of gardens.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I always wonder if are you milking goats? Are you like doing dairy goats, or are they just pets?
Well, we want to get into milking goats, having baby kids and selling them and milking goats and everything. But we just haven't got that far yet. We're trying to get infrastructures built, and the garden comes first. So we just haven't got that far yet. But right now they're just pets.
Yeah.
They're lawnmowers.
Nobody earns their keep around here. Nobody. They're all freeloaders.
No, that's all. I heard about you through Cog Hill. I'd heard him mention you a couple of times. Do y'all do bees out there for him? Like, do y'all have bees on his property as well?
No, we don't. He's partnering with another young lady that's what she does. That's her profession, is beekeeping. So she has her bees on his property. We just keep bees ourselves as a hobby,
Yeah.
Have like 7 hives right now. So
Oh, wow.
we did have 12. We lost some over the summer, and then we went into winter with 8, and we just did an inspection last week, and we're going strong with 7 good, healthy hives. So we just do it as a hobby, and mostly I wanted to get into bees just for pollinating my orchards and my gardens, and and the whole save the bees.
Right.
So that's when we got into it.
I have found that my dad's getting close to like retirement age, and he has about 100 acres, and he just got bees, so now he's like super into it. He's got about a 10-acre pecan orchard that he's been building over the years, and so he's looking forward to that, helping out with that. And he's a plant nerd like me. He's the one that got me interested. But awesome. I had no idea that there's so much that likes to get into beehives, like possums and raccoons and ants, and there's a lot of things.
Yeah, there's all kinds of issues, and they have all kinds of issues.
Really?
Wax moths, hive beetles, there's all kinds of situations with them. And we're natural beekeepers. Like, we don't use all the chemicals, or, we don't use chemicals for the garden for anything. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to garden and grow my own food, is to grow, organic, healthy food.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, bees are just fascinating. I mean, I'll ride out there on the ATV and just sit and watch them. You know, they're just so fascinating. They have their own language and they're just,
It's like I saw my friend's beehive out in Monterey, California, and it's like an airport. And if you get
yeah,
close, you can just watch them. There's like air
yeah,
traffic control. Nobody runs
yeah,
into each other. It's
yeah.
beautiful.
It is. And it's just crazy how like super intelligent they are. It's
Yeah.
wild, really.
No, absolutely. And right now, they're hungry. They're waking up. From like I
Mhm.
guess, do you call it hibernation? Are they hibernating during the winter?
They're not really hibernating because they will come out. You know,
Right.
I wouldn't call it hibernation. I don't really know what you call it. I
Maybe
don't.
more like dormant, or like kind of being
Maybe more like dormant. Yeah.
yeah.
But see, like right now, this time of year is called the dearth period, which
Okay.
is where it's warming up. And so they're getting out, they're foraging, they're wanting food. A lot of things aren't blooming yet,
Right.
not a
Right.
lot to forage on. And a lot of times beekeepers will feed sugar water right now.
Hmm.
Oh,
We've never had to do that
Oh,
because
really?
there's so much natively here on our property. We have about 9 acres of old hardwood forest, and there's so much for them to forage on. When we inspected last week, we also, let me say this, we leave a whole bunch of honey for them. We only harvest once, and we leave a lot for them to get them through the winter so they can
right.
have their food stores. So when we inspected the bees last weekend, they had already refilled all of those honey supers, and we're
Wow,
having to add more honey supers. So
that's fantastic.
it's pretty cool.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
We're excited about it.
Well, and it's one of those things that if you there's a couple things like with gardening and homesteading that, like, if you do like some content on beekeeping,
Mhm.
people are very interested and fascinated, even if they like don't want like a beehive of their own. They're
Yeah.
very interested in watching and enjoying your experience while you're
Hmm.
doing it.
hmm
I all I did was get a photo wearing my dad's suit, and
Yeah.
the picture got like 1,000 likes, and I was like, I haven't even been out there. Are I I saw your husband's name is Gene. Gene,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
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 Y'all aren't the crazy people that go out there and check on your hives without the gear on. I saw that y'all were suiting up.
No. No, sir. We will never do that. They hate the honeybees. Hate my husband. They
Really?
hate him. They can see him walk out of the house, and they'll make a beeline for him. I can't tell you
No
how many
pun
times I've.
intended.
Yeah, that's him. That's that guy.
Oh my goodness. Well, what I didn't know is that if your suit is too tight fitting and it's
hmm
pressing up against like your chest or your arm,
Oh
they,
yeah.
they can get you like that
Oh
through
yeah.
the suit.
Yeah. And he's highly allergic too. He'll get stung,
Oh,
and he
Oh my
got
gosh.
stung on his face one time. His whole face swells up. It's not funny, but it is kind of funny.
oh my goodness.
They hate him too, buddy. They hate him.
Oh
I
my
He
goodness.
does it anyway.
No, my dad had said that he was going out there and he was having trouble with ants getting into his. Ants like to make if you I think there's a way to do it. I've seen people where they take like a kiddie pool and they'll fill it with water and put like cinder blocks in the middle of it, and
Yeah,
then it's like a I think it's like an ant moat or whatever kind of around their bees.
yeah.
But then he had also had possums that were getting into it.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it didn't rain for like 3 months here in Texas last year, and everything was just looking for moisture. I had possums eating my figs, and he had possums that were going in there, and what they were doing is they weren't even eating the bees. They were just breaking in and they were mashing them and like getting. I guess they taste good or something.
Yeah.
Because my dog does the same thing. Anytime he finds a bee out in the garden,
Uh huh.
he's always trying to get it, and his
Yeah.
face will swell up, and
Oh
hmm
like
my gosh.
they
My
must
dog
take
does too.
they
Yeah.
must taste good or something. I don't know what it is.
Maybe they taste like honey.
I don't
I'm
know.
not gonna eat one and try
Well,
it.
how long have you been doing bees for, or caring for bees?
Yeah, we actually got honeybees before we moved here on the farm. We moved the bees here before we moved here.
Got it.
It's really pretty cool story. I was just interested in learning about the bees. I wasn't
Yeah.
ready to start beekeeping or anything. So I went to this conference that was in a city close to us. I went to the beekeepers conference, and I was just learning all I could learn about them. Well, at the end of the conference, they give away prizes. So at the very last prize, the mega big daddy of all daddy prizes, I win the
No.
whole hive kit.
Oh my goodness.
Never won
Nice.
anything before in my life. Never. So I win this
That's a
whole.
good prize to win. That's
It's
a
a
good prize
great
to
prize to win because they're like,
Guess we're keeping bees
$400.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a friend come up to me at the conference and said, "Okay, I'm going to give you your first bees." So I was like, "Well, I guess it's meant to be." So
Right.
we just started keeping bees. So it's
Also a
been
pun.
8 years, I guess. 8 years.
Oh, 8 years.
8
Wow.
years. Okay.
Seven.
Because my big question was, I was going to ask if you've seen a contrast of in changes of your garden since you've gotten bees and seen their impacts on the area.
Well, we had the bees before we had the garden.
Right. So now,
So
so
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just always been good.
it's
It's
always been
always
good.
been, yeah. They're
Yeah.
always active, always
Right. Well,
in the garden.
and that's one of the things. So I think I've told this story before, but it's funny. So when I first moved into our house, we've been here for like 6 or 7 years, and the direct TV guy, I was at work, he was installing the dish while my wife was in the house, and he sent me a picture. He texted me a picture. I thought it was weird the direct TV guy was sending me a picture, but it was my neighbor's house is a 2 story. It's brick on the bottom and hardy plank. Well, on the bottom of the hardy plank, one of the planks had slid down, and there was like a 3x4 just side of his house was covered in bees.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so for the first like 3 years of my house, like having the house, I had a hive in my neighbor side of my neighbor's house. Just
Wow.
I told him about it, and he said, "I don't care. I'm not getting them." And every so often they would swarm
Yeah.
and my backyard would be like a tornado of bees.
Uh-huh.
They weren't aggressive. I've never been, I
Yeah.
haven't been stung once,
Yeah.
but it was so wild. But
Wow.
I took advantage of it because I'd plant all my cucumbers and my squash
On
on
that
that.
side.
Yes, yes,
Wow.
oh,
yep.
cool.
And
That's
and that
cool.
it worked out in my favor. And they finally got him removed when they sold the house, but
Yeah.
they didn't get him removed correctly. If anyone is listening right now and you have bees in the side of your house, under your house, anywhere, you have to get them removed by a trained person because you
Yeah.
got to get everything out of there. You can't leave any of that comb or anything behind because they leave hormones or pheromones or whatever, and
Yep.
it'll attract the swarm that's flying by, and
That's
they're
right.
like, "Oh, this is a good spot."
That's
So
right.
so the bees are back. The bees are back in the side of the house.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. They don't bother me. I'm okay with
Wow.
it.
are they in there?
I'd
Are they
be, I,
honeybees?
Oh yeah.
I'd be curious to see what it looks like on the inside of that wall.
Yeah.
So for my full time job, I do infrared thermography, which is where I use an infrared camera to
Uh-huh.
actually scan electrical equipment. And
Okay.
I need to bring my camera home and do it at night and actually
Mhm.
see how much heat is coming off the side of the. You'll be able to basically you should see an outline of the hive on the side of the
Yeah,
house.
that would be cool to
That would be
see.
really cool.
I need
Hmm.
to do it. I did a comparison test one time because I do a lot of raised bed and container gardening,
Hmm.
and I was using black mineral tubs, which I'm sure y'all have seen that over in Alabama.
Hmm.
Um, but people would always say, "Aren't your black pots getting super hot in the sun? Aren't they getting like super hot?" The same thing with my metal raised beds. They're like, "Aren't they drying out all the soil? Aren't they getting super hot?" I brought my infrared gun home and I showed it, and I was like, "Nope, they're just as hot as everything else." It's they were
Everything's hot.
Yeah.
when it's hot, everything is hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, One thing I know you specialize in is I wanted to talk to you about was especially because Phil, I don't know if you did it or not yet. You were talking about designing how you wanted your garden raised bed layout.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
you specialize, Tracy, in the portage garden.
Potager. Potager.
Potage. It's a
Protege.
French. It's a
Potager.
potager. It's a
I'm gonna look that up.
very French word.
French. It is French.
But I'll let you kind of explain like what the idea behind it is, like what the concept is.
Okay. Well, Potager Gardens, it's a French style inspired kitchen garden. And I like to say it's where beauty and function meet because it's more than just, just a typical garden that you plow up in the spring, plant it, walk away from it, wade through the weeds to harvest it.
Right, right.
And then till it under and not go back again until next. This is much more than that. This is like a lifestyle garden.
Yeah.
So it's a mixture of everything: vegetables, fruit, herbs, flowers, medicinal herbs, culinary herbs. It's just it's about diversity, a
Okay.
diverse mixture of everything.
Wow.
And it's about beauty and function. So it's creating a beautiful space that's functionable, that's growing everything that we need.
Right.
And it originates all the way back. Now, I watched an episode of you two talking
Okay.
about fig history, and I
Uh-huh.
thought that was super cool. I love the history of plants. Like, it's just
Yes.
so interesting. So that's where the potager originated with the monastery monks in the medieval times.
Oh.
Created the first potager garden. And from there, it went into Louis the 14th, I believe. Louis the 14th created the Garden of Versailles, and it's
Mhm.
a
Okay.
big, elaborate potager garden. And from there, it went to the peasants. So the peasants, during the bubonic plague, right,
Mhm.
they actually were able to acquire land. The aristocrats owned all the land. When the plague moved in, it killed off thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, right?
Right.
So they had nobody to work their land. And they started taking their land and dividing it into like 1 acre plots or half-acre plots. They built these little thatched roof cottages on the plots. And then at the first time ever, peasants were able to rent this land and have their own land and grow their own gardens, sustain themselves. So the potager garden, the house was in the center, and they had a garden, a little farm with small farm animals, everything that they needed to sustain themselves on
Right.
this one little plot of land. And that's where the potager comes from. It means soup pot. Potager means soup pot.
Oh, that makes a lot
And
of
they would just,
sense.
yeah, they would just go out with their basket in hand and harvest everything they needed for their meal, for their soup pot,
Right.
or pot
Oh,
of soup. So that's where it comes from. That's the history behind it. I could go deeper and deeper and deeper into the history, but that's where it come from, originated from. And
no.
when I studied the garden history of that, I was like, that's exactly the garden I want.
Right.
Because I never
Right.
liked the, tilling it up, rows, planting it, weeds, hoeing. I never liked that kind of vegetable garden. I didn't like growing it like that. So, and plus we practiced no-till, and this just made sense to me, and it had to be beautiful.
Right.
My background is design. I have my degrees are in interior design and landscape and garden design, and everything. It's got to be beautiful.
Right. Right.
A beautiful space, you're going to want to go to that space every day, right?
Absolutely.
So that's
It's
the
you make it
concept.
sound so beautiful when you realize like a garden, and it's just coming from gardeners to feel like it's an extension of your home and it's an
Yep.
extension of your kitchen.
Yep.
Sounds
Mm-hmm.
like it's an extent. It's like part of the way that you were describing it. It's almost like an apothecary as well. So
It
like
is.
you have all these aspects that like you can just it's all immersed from indoor to outdoor at any
Exactly.
time.
Exactly. And in fact, one of the first element that I always say to use when you're designing a potager garden is it should be very close to the kitchen. It should be right out the kitchen door, or as
Yes.
close as possible to the kitchen, because like you say, it's an extension of the kitchen, an extension of our home, our
Yeah.
medicine cabinet, our pharmacy, our food, our floral arrangements for our home. It should just be
Our
all connected.
spark of joy that wants us to
Yeah.
Yes,
go have fun out there
Well,
too. I mean,
exactly.
I live on a 32nd of an acre, so like my whole backyard is a
It's
potager
the
garden.
potager.
My whole
That's
backyard.
perfect.
Yeah, no, it's I always, I think that's why people that's people think like about my setup is it
Mhm.
is such a small space, but I show that you can do stuff that is aesthetically
Yeah,
pleasing in a
yeah.
Mhm.
small space, and that potager, potager,
Yep.
We gotta get a like an English word. Oh my goodness. Uh, but it's such an adaptable method of gardening. I think that's what more people need to be doing this concept where
Mhm.
at least if everybody in the United States could grow enough to like replace one like in their backyard, replace one or two meals
Yeah.
a week. Like imagine that. We talked about that on the podcast. Like no meat Mondays, where we just eat like something out. Like you were saying, like we can make a soup out of a bunch of different
Yeah.
combinations and stuff.
Yeah.
So I love that. And then the pollinator aspect, and then
Hmm.
the I know you're a big rose person as well.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I
But
love
you
rose.
like,
Every
oh,
garden has to have a rose, at
well
least one,
in
or
Texas.
20,
In
or 80.
Texas, every garden has to have a yellow rose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
oh,
Yes, I'm making that a rule now.
Are you?
If you're in Texas, you gotta have a yellow rose in
You
your
got to have a
backyard.
yellow rose of Texas.
well,
Absolutely.
like Tracy, you also described they were like portioning off half acres
Hmm.
to all the peasants. And I think that just makes me think of look at our American culture with like greater suburbia, that everyone has these like
Yeah.
sixth quarter half acre lots. And
Yeah.
people are like, it used to be a farm. I'm like, it still can be. You still
Yeah.
have enough space to
Yeah.
supplement yourself. And
You can grow a lot of food in your 32nd of an acre.
Oh,
You can grow
I
a
tried.
right.
lot of
And
food.
it ties back to that. Like there's space to make an impact. And if you make it beautiful and desirable, I mean, I actively, I didn't know this word and it's beautiful now that, this potager that you can look at something and be like, yes, I'm a plant hoarder, but also it's gorgeous out there at the same time.
Hmm. That's right. That's right. To me, my garden's more than just a place to grow my food or my medicine. It's my sanctuary. It's our
Mhm.
peace, my joy. I love it. I'll
Yeah,
spend every minute I have available in it.
it's
Ah,
my therapy, and it's also my recording studio where I
Yeah.
do I
Yeah.
do a lot of that too. And so like, yeah,
Yeah. When
it's
you love it as much as we do, you make it your job too.
oh, absolutely. Well, and like you were saying, I probably it definitely is an extension of my outdoor living space. With
Yeah.
it's I spend way more time in my garden than I do inside my house.
Hmm.
It's just except me if you don't count sleep. But
Yeah.
yeah. I thought about doing that, and maybe I should think about doing it before it gets too hot. I thought about doing like a 24-hour like live like living in my greenhouse. I don't know if I have space or not. I don't know if I have enough space. I thought about doing that, and
You should do that.
maybe if I get to 200,000 followers on Facebook,
Destin, it's
I'll
never
send you
about
my
finding space, it's about making space.
Yeah, that's
some.
right.
Nobody clip that, please. I don't want to actually do that. Um, but but sometimes I say things and I will things into the atmosphere, and I shouldn't have even brought that
Be
idea out
careful
there.
what you say.
Yeah, I know. And then I have to do stuff like that. Um, so we're all greenhouse owners here. Phil's got you got yours from Harbor Freight, Northern
Mine's
Tree.
Harbor Freight.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yours is the DIY. You did a DIY cattle panel one, right? I saw all the cattle panels and stuff.
I did. Yeah, my husband did.
How is it holding up? Like it
Oh,
looks
great. It's awesome. It does really, really good. Now, I don't have heat in it and there's no air circulation.
right.
You know, so that's not very efficient here in Alabama. But it works good. Like I've got a greenhouse full of babies and
Yay.
been awesome. I just shut the doors at night and everything's holding up great. Now, if we scoop down to like, way below freezing, which is kind of rare for us, but if we scoop down below freezing, then we've got a little propane heater we'll put in there.
Right.
But it works really good. Yeah, I
Well, that's
love
all.
my
What are
greenhouse.
the dimensions of it?
It is, do you remember what it is? 13 by 26?
Okay.
13 by
That's a
26.
nice size.
It's about the same size as my greenhouse. Mine's a 12 by 24. So it's a 8 foot tall. So it's about
Mm-hmm.
that size. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know y'all get strong winds like we do here. Like is it get whipped? Is it pretty secure to the ground and everything? Like it's
It survived an 80-mile-an-hour what? Hurricane. I got my helper in the background here. An 80
he's
mile an
he,
hour hurricane. It survived those winds, but he took those batten straps
yeah.
and secured it, and it
Yeah.
really did
No, that's
good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
People think that with the greenhouse, you're worried about the cold. You're worried
Hmm.
about. I am typically more worried about the wind with
Yeah.
my greenhouse. Like, because there's if something blows and rips my tarp or whatever,
Hmm.
it's just it's going to be a bad day. It's not going to be
Yeah.
good at all. Especially
Yeah.
because my neighbors are so close. My greenhouse isn't going anywhere, but the plastic and the plants,
Yeah.
will not be good.
Oh man, we've never had. Have you had a problem with that before?
No, but I'm Murphy's law. With me, it's if it can happen, it will happen. I, I'm like like it's yeah, Murphy's law with me. It's always like I can't believe that happened. Well, it happened to me. Uh,
Well, maybe it won't. Maybe it won't.
I hope
Let's hope not.
I hope not. I think we're about out of it anyway.
Yeah.
I've got some people in the chat. They're asking some questions, and they were so I like everybody here in Texas and probably Alabama this past couple of weeks. It's been a false spring. It's been
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
it's feeling good outside. You're moving
Mhm.
some plants out of the greenhouse, and people are getting excited that well, we'll put some stuff in the ground. And I've even been tempted myself, and I haven't done it
Me
yet.
too.
But it looks like somebody says, let's see what the question is. So I jumped the gun and transplanted my eggplants and peppers outside on Monday. Now the leaves and stalks. Now the leaves and well, this may not be cold actually. So she said,
Okay.
he says, now the leaves and stalks are wilting. I used transplant mix. Is there anything to do to salvage them? Um,
Are they
so
willing because they gotta freeze?
I don't
Got
know where
cold?
I don't, I don't know
Or
where
is
it's.
it sun exposure, like to direct sunlight?
Well,
Yeah.
so I've had questions about what is it? Is it edging your plants or what is it acclimating them to being
Hardening,
outside,
hardening
hardening?
them off. Yeah,
Hmm.
hardening
Yeah,
them
yeah.
off.
Do you do any like what do you do, Tracy, like to harden your veggie starts and stuff
I
like that?
do. I do that. I harden them off. So I just before I'm taking them directly from my greenhouse to my ground, then I'll spend a few days and just like bring them out for a few hours, bring them in the next day, bring them out for a little bit longer, bring them in, and just harden them off and get them ready because you are just, that's shock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that could be what happened.
especially going from out like inside the house
Yeah,
to outside,
yeah,
especially.
yeah.
Um, that
Got
could
to
be
acclimate them.
yeah. For the greenhouse, what I've been doing since it's so warm in there and
Yeah.
it's kind of a little bit cooler outside, I've just been like on the days I'm off, I've been opening the screen and letting kind of like like when you put your when you buy a goldfish, you set it in the water and let the water in the bag get the same temperature.
Mhm.
That's what I feel like I'm doing by letting some airflow into the
Yeah,
greenhouse like that.
That's
yeah.
good.
But it also could be eggplants. I don't know when do you grow eggplants, Tracy?
I do, but the ground's got to be a lot warmer than this to plant.
That's
It's about the not necessarily what's happening outside, the wind, but or the air, but it's about the ground temperatures. They got to be warmer for those peppers and eggplants, especially.
yeah.
So
Yeah, Phil's the Italiano over there. I know he grows the eggplants.
yeah,
Eggplants are typically for me like in the middle of summer when nothing else will grow. Eggplants and okra will
yeah,
grow like crazy. So I wouldn't even do eggplants in the spring for me. Phil,
yeah.
Phil, what
I
about
have
you?
gotten away from eggplants recently just because my yields weren't that great, and I was just started, and I'm expanding on my beds now, so who knows if I'm gonna have more eggplants. But before I only had like two raised beds, so I was
Yeah.
picking and choosing my maximum yields. Like I just like overloaded with peppers because I was eating them so often. But in Italian we call it melanzana, right? The
Melanzana.
Italian melanzana. Um, and my neighbors grow them. They're awesome. My wife makes this awesome we call it like a pesto eggplant sandwich, and you just like lightly fry it on each side with pesto in the olive oil when you fry it, and then you put a slab of
Oh,
tomato, slab of mozzarella, garlic
oh,
bread, and it's like boom.
oh,
Um, but
I've never had an eggplant before.
really?
oh really?
I've never eaten. So Tracy, we might not know about me is I'm a thick dude, but I'm also like a picky eater. And so what gardening has helped me out is if I grow it, I want to try it. So
Yeah.
like I've really expanded my palate, like to eating squash and
Uh,
okra, stuff like that. So I never really thought about growing eggplants because I never really ate them. But
yeah.
maybe I need to try them.
Try
Everything tastes
that.
different when it comes from the garden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everything tastes different.
Well,
that's
and
a
Phil, maybe your yield wasn't great because you weren't. I don't know if you were growing at the right time of year. Because like I said, for they're like a heat loving. They love the heat like
Yeah.
okra.
Yeah.
okay. That's
So
probably it.
and the varieties that my buddy was growing was the Ichiban. It was the Japanese. It's like it puts out a bunch like smaller
Yeah.
The small
eggplants.
long
Kind of
ones.
more
They're
elongated.
yeah, they're the Japanese eggplants that
Hmm.
apparently do really well. So maybe give those a try.
I
Yeah.
might give those a try. The Sicilian ones my parents grew that were really good. They're not Sicilian, but they're like they look like big softballs.
Yeah.
And they're like the light purple ones. Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
gosh. And those are really good. I think the trickiest part with eggplants too is if you have a lot of them is like cooking them right without because they have a lot of water in them. So you
Yeah.
don't want them to if you cook them too hard, they get all like squishy and sloppy. If you want to get them nice and crisp, it's just you have to be nicer to it and take your time with it,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. We're not big eggplant fans, and I grow them just because I'm supposed to, I guess.
Well, you have a little more space than me and Phil do, so you
Yeah.
can do a couple. Like I'm very limited, so I have to be as efficient as
Yeah.
possible.
Hmm.
Like
Grow what you eat.
yeah, I mean, and if I didn't have HOA restrictions, I'd probably have like stuff like eggplants growing in my front flower bed and stuff like that. There are some things that some edibles that I have found that I can grow in my front yard.
Hmm.
One being the pineapple guava. It's
Oh,
approved. It's
Yeah.
approved by my HOA.
nice.
I have two. I have two of
Nice.
them. And I've never gotten any fruit from them though. I've never gotten any fruit. And
Do you have the female and the male?
so, is it a female and a male plant?
It is. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, see, I don't know, and that's something that we didn't talk about while we were recording. Is that you worked at a nursery? You worked at Petals from
Mhm.
the Past, the world famous Petals from the Past.
Yes, I did. I
So,
worked there for over 12 years. I did the landscape design for everybody and sales and pruned roses and whatever needed to be done. I did it. I worked there for 12 years.
wow,
Really
Loved
cool.
it. Loved it.
yeah, that's my long term goal. Is I want to have my own nursery and do something
Yeah.
like that, and
Nice.
and so I spend a lot of time going to nurseries and doing tours and
Hmm.
I make pretty good friends with the nursery owners and stuff and I see what I like about this nursery and like like whenever you go to a nursery because you worked in one for so long you probably you probably go to quite a few
Hmm.
what is like the first thing you look for like in a nursery is it like customer service or like what do you look for like what is your top thing.
Customer service and the level of education from the people that are working there.
Yeah.
And um, if they give you good information, because when I worked at Petals from the Past, that's kind of what we all prided ourselves on was education. That the whole nursery is set up for education. Different gardens to show you the different plants. We held classes every weekend, free classes just to help teach the home gardener. It's all about education. And every person there, even if you started and you knew nothing, by the time spring season was over, you knew a lot because every morning we would have a session where we learned stuff before, where Jason taught us something before of what was going on in the season in that time
Okay.
before we started work. And we had DVDs we could take home and learn about the fruit. And, it was just educating us so that we could educate the customer, right?
Right.
So I think the customer service, education, one thing that I really look at is how clean and organized the nursery is. That's very important to me is, if the nurseryman takes pride in the nursery and it's clean and organized,
Yes.
then the plant material is most likely going to be healthy. So,
I can usually tell how good of a nursery it is
uh-huh.
by going to their bathroom. I mean, it's
That's
for
a
real.
Yeah.
Like,
hmm
it's. I mean, you will see some hole in the wall places, but like,
Mhm.
a good destination nursery like Petals from the Past and places over
Yeah.
here in like Houston,
Yeah.
they take pride like Bucky's. Like,
Hmm.
even if you just stop in for the bathroom, you're gonna buy something on the way out.
That's right.
And then when you show up, they're like meeting you halfway in the parking lot, like, "Hey, what can I help you with?"
Hey, what you
You
need? Need
you,
some bread?
right? You may not need any help, but you want to be asked. You want to know that someone's
Right.
paying attention. You
That's
know,
right. That's
and
right.
so
Funny you say that about the bathroom. So I did all of the decorating, the marketing, setting up the gift shop and all of that, the displays and everything. And I always decorated the bathroom really nice because I figure people's going to go in there and sit for a few minutes and they're going
yep.
to look around. And I'm not kidding you. Every day, just about, I would have to redo that bathroom because it was shopped.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. No, I
Bathrooms are important.
yes.
Yeah.
No, it's very interesting what people pay attention to. And like you were saying, with people with expertise, when someone like, I get comments and messages, like, "Hey, I bought a peach and it's never put out a fruit." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, where'd you get the peach?"
Mhm.
I got it from Walmart. I'm like,
Mhm.
what variety is the peach? I'm like,
Mhm.
"Well, I don't know. It just said peach." You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was at a birthday party, and some guy's neighbor was like, "Hey, I got a pear, an apple, a peach." And I was like, "Well, do you have two of each variety?" And he's
Mhm.
like, "No." And I was like, "Well, that would help with pollination." He goes, "What variety did you get? What variety did you get?" And he's like, "I have no idea what variety they are. So who knows if the chill hours are right or anything?"
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Especially when it comes to fruit, it's important to know what you're getting, and like you said, the chill hours.
yep,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a lot of nurseries that'll sell cherries. Well, we can't grow cherries here. We don't get enough chill hours, but there's nurseries that sell cherries here.
yep,
And we did sell them at Petals from the Past, but they had higher chill hours,
right,
or lower chill hours actually.
Right.
So,
right,
but it's important to know, you know,
Not to mention the rootstock of some of
yeah,
these varieties too, if they're
exactly,
grafted.
yep,
exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, we grew a lot of apple trees on dwarf root stalks, and a lot of the fruit trees actually was on dwarf root stalks. And you
Hmm.
need to know that because then you need to trellis that tree. If
right.
it's
Hmm.
healthy, that's going to grow a little differently. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I think education is probably my number one thing.
yeah. That and if you support smaller, like, local
Yeah,
nurseries.
yeah.
Like, I go to some of these nurseries, and they know me by name now for other reasons, but like, I go there pretty often, and I make
Hmm.
friends with the kids. Usually they got like high school kids working there, and they know some, but
Hmm.
they're always really helpful. And the best thing is, if you don't know, don't tell me you know. Like, just, "Hey, I
Yeah,
don't know exactly. Let me go ask my boss."
yep,
Yeah.
that's right. Yep.
That was an Air Force thing, back when I was in the Air Force.
Hmm.
Whenever you're like doing like an audit or an inspection or something, if you don't know the answer, be like, "No, sir, I don't know the answer, but I'll get the answer and I'll come back to you."
Hmm.
That's what's important with that.
That's yep.
Yeah, I went to a tree giveaway here in Houston. There's a nonprofit organization, and I got a cherry last week, but
Yeah.
it's a Barbados cherry.
Okay.
And so I had to do some. I like getting new things like thrown
Yeah.
at me and
Yeah.
doing some research. And I don't think it's actually a true cherry,
Uh huh.
but it's from the Caribbean, uh, and it's not cold tolerant. It's not cold tolerant at all. But it
Uh,
will put out cherries though.
really?
Is
Yeah,
it? Do they
Ooh.
look like? What do the cherries look like? Like
they
an.
look they look kind of like cherries, man. They look kind of like cherries,
Oh, I had
but
a really crazy cherry in Hawaii, the Suriname cherry,
it's
and the,
probably similar to that, I would guess.
it
Huh.
looked bizarre though because it looked like a little red pumpkin. It doesn't taste at all like a pumpkin. It's almost tart and it's tiny. Like it was like a little like twice the size of a cherry, I would say.
Yeah.
And we were just eating
Yeah.
them. We were on the Big Island, and it blew my brain. But I was curious, like, oh, Caribbean. And I was like, oh, Suriname faces the Caribbean Sea, and I was like, I wonder if it had any relation to the Barbados cherry, but it might be another.
I have to.
Oh.
I'm planning on. I've got those Vigo rolling metal roller beds, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
was like, well, I'll put it in there, and then I'll be able to roll it in the greenhouse, because it's hard to grow regular cherries here in like Houston, because
Yeah.
we don't get the chill hours.
No.
yeah.
Like those rainier cherries and stuff. They grow up north. We just don't get those.
Yeah. We had a lot of crosses. like a plum and a cherry, so it's called a pluary.
That
And like
sounds awesome.
Whoa.
yeah, very cool. And then like a plum and an apricot is a pluot.
Pluot. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
pluot.
I've
Yeah.
seen the pluots.
Yeah, so we had different crosses like that that actually grow better.
Yeah.
You know, easier. Like if you, like for instance, the pluary, you know, it didn't require as many chill hours. So
Oh,
like it looks like a little cherry, but I mean it tastes just like a cross between a plum and a cherry.
that's so cool.
That
So
sounds
yeah,
delicious.
there's a lot of different crosses like that.
I love that.
Gold, yeah.
I
I find
love
that a
that.
lot across all stone fruit is like you just see this ability to cross pollinate and make these hybrid cultivars.
Mm, yeah, yeah. There was I can't. I'm trying to think what all we had. Pluot, no, Pluot. I don't know. We had a lot of different cool crosses.
I'd like to look into some of that because they're also coming out with some. I don't know how it works, but they're like genetically modified, like cold tolerant, like lemons and limes now.
Oh,
They call them like some snow Meyer lemons or like ice Meyer lemons. They're supposed to be cold tolerant down to a certain level.
hmm. I don't
I
Oh,
know.
interesting.
Do you have a lot of citrus trees? Do you grow a lot of citrus? Do you?
I typically don't, but I'm kind of hoarding them now. I'm starting
I
to.
started hoarding them too. I don't know, Justin, did we just start doing this to ourselves? But Tracy, you have citrus too now?
I do. Yeah, I've got
Oh,
Satsuma,
the Wari Satsuma?
Satsuma. Yep, Meyer lemon, Persian
Hmm.
lime,
Yep.
Caracara navel orange, which is my all-time
Oh,
absolute favorite, and kumquat is my next one on the list.
kumquats are good. I
Kumquats,
love kumquats.
I do too. We had a friend that used to make us kumquat pies. Woo!
What?
I heard Gene got excited about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good.
I bet that tasted awesome.
So
I
good.
I've got two Meyer lemons, a key lime, a Persian lime. I've got uh, I had a variegated pink lemon that I lost in the freeze a couple years ago,
Mm,
and my buddy Jorge, who runs the Jorge's Hidden Gardens down the road, he had one extra, and it was a big one. No one wanted it because it was so big. It was like in the 3 gallon pot. No, it was not in 3 gallon. It was a 15 gallon pot. It was probably 6 foot tall. 6 foot tall because nobody could fit it in their truck, you
yeah.
know.
Oh,
And so like he was like, "Hey, if you want it, it's yours. You can have it."
Whoa.
you
He
were
gave
there by the time he said that sentence, weren't
well,
you?
well, it was we did our fall meetup and it was on my wife's birthday, and so
Oh,
he always anytime like when you make friends like nursery people, like I take him plants. And like
yeah.
sometimes we just do trades. Like I'll bring him some plants and he'll give me some plants. And so if it's my birthday or my wife's birthday, he's like, "Hey, it's your wife's birthday. Tell her to pick out a tree." You
Like,
know, and
that's
so
awesome.
they've been blooming like crazy in the greenhouse. Like they've been blooming. And speaking of bees, I did a video. The bees were so hungry; they were buttoned up against the plastic trying to get in the greenhouse on
Yeah,
Saturday. So I had to open up and let them in and get to pollinating. It's
they
Oh,
love
yeah. Are your citrus flowering yet, guys?
like crazy. Mine are
Oh.
like crazy.
mine. Aren't mine are young. I just
Hmm.
got them, actually.
I just started getting into it. I have a Kimburo Satsuma, which is kind of like an Awari, like it's a hardy Satsuma. I have
Hmm.
a variegated pink lemon that fruits for me on it. She's a diva, that lemon
It's been
tree.
coming a lot more common. It's becoming a
Um,
lot more common
I
now.
love just smelling the leaves of it. Like I put it
Yeah,
next to my outdoor shower, and that's just like out there, and it's the aromatics of it. I picked up a
Yeah.
Japanese yuzu, so I got a yuzu, which is really hardy, down to
that's a
like
cool
5 or 10 degrees, and then I do have a trifoliate grapefruit hybrid that a
Oh,
friend gave me.
cool.
It was an experimental seedling, so I'll let you know how it goes. I forgot about it all winter, and it survived 18 degrees, no problem.
Wow.
So that's
That's awesome.
trifoliate for you.
How
I
do you
don't
how do you
know
how do you spell the cold tolerant? The Huzu?
yuzu, yuzu,
Okay.
and it wasn't that. It's more popular now. It's a really popular Japanese and Asian variety. I know in South Korea it's famous. It's popular for like, and you get like ponzu sauces from it, and other sort of like delicate, sweeter citrus
Mhm.
flavors you can get
Yeah,
from it.
cool.
Um, but that's apparently it's hardy down. that was outside too in like 20-degree weather, no problem. So everyone out there, try check out yuzu. And then we have a guy in South Carolina here. It's about 2.5 hours away. Stan McKenzie, Millennial Gardener, communicates with him a lot, and he tries to grow cold hardy varieties and tries to push the limit. But they talk a lot about the satsumas as being really cold tolerant.
Hmm.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah, at Petals we had well, still do, but a citrus greenhouse. And so
Oh,
all kinds of citrus was growing in there. And one year we had honeybees right near it. Those honeybees foraged on those citrus blooms.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you what, that is the best honey I
Oh
have
oh,
my
I
God.
bet. Oh my
tried.
gosh.
It had a lemon flavor to it, like a citrus flavor to the honey. It was so good.
Could you even
Wow.
imagine? We make chamomile tea sometimes here, and we put like
Yeah,
honey and lemon in it, just like omitting the lemon part and just having the honey right go into it. That's it.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That'd be unreal.
Well, that could be that's something someone could do if they lost like their graft and they just had the trifoliate growing because
Mm-hmm.
the trifoliate will still bloom and they could just
Hmm.
leave it. They had bees and they'd still get the blossoms, from
Mm-hmm.
Right.
that.
And it's quite
Yeah.
aromatic, I hear, just the trifoliate itself. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was driving in the plant at work one day. And it was probably in December, and I saw these little yellow fruits growing off the side of the road in the plant. And I was like, "What is that?" And I got out and I used my Google image, search, and I was like, "Oh, that's trifoliate. It's got these little, they're inedible." I was like, "Let me try
they're
it," and
so
it's
bitter.
oh my god, it's
They're
so
like
good.
ping pong ball sized.
Yeah.
Uh,
And, and talk about thorns. Trifoliate will mess you up if you.
yes.
Oh my god.
Serious thorn.
Yes.
Serious.
Do y'all have loquats in Alabama? Do y'all do?
We do.
Mhm.
But getting fruit's tricky, because it gets let's see what happens. It gets too cold before it starts fruiting.
So
Got it.
Yeah. I
I've
had a couple of them and I
yeah.
never got fruit from them, but I had a customer that uh he had lots of them and he would bring us fruit. So it just there was just this one year that he got fruit. It timed it just right, and so they're good though. Really
So,
good.
I know Phil's got one, and I have lost two or three of them, but I always grow them in containers, and
Yeah.
that's and so I was like, I've got all these rolling containers. Let's go ahead and get a loquat. We'll put it in the greenhouse, and then we'll get some fruit out of it. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and so like anything else, if I buy it and I buy a new plant, I got to do a video on it. And so I go and I start doing my research and stuff. And one side is telling me that like loquats are not cold tolerant, all this, and
Mhm.
then I go to the Texas A&M horticulture website, and it
Mhm.
said loquats are like the mature loquat trees. They're one of the most cold tolerant, hardy trees. They can be down to like 10 degrees,
Okay.
and I'm
Hmm.
thinking to myself, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Why am I getting all this conflicting information? So I dug a little deeper. So if your loquat is in a container like mine, the root temperature is getting way colder than it would if it was planted in the ground. So
Mhm.
Right.
that's why mine are dying. But
Mhm.
like you're saying, Tracy, if you plant them in the ground, the root ball is going to stay safe. The tree will hardly take any damage,
Mhm.
but they actually
Fruit.
bloom in fruit in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So it's like a double edged sword. So like
Mhm.
that rolling planter is going to be my saving grace to actually getting some fruit, I think.
Yeah. Wheel that baby into the greenhouse.
Yep, absolutely.
And then wheel it over to that beehive.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Right. I love loquats. My dad had one in his yard. 'Cause here in Texas, we didn't start getting like these cold freezes up until like a couple years ago. It hasn't been like this. It's getting colder. And he brought us like a 50-pound feed bag full of loquats one time. He
Mhm.
just dropped them off my front porch and left. And we're like, what are we supposed to do with all these? We spent like 12 hours peeling and because they have those seeds, the big old seeds,
Yeah.
to make like 40 jars of loquat jelly, and it was amazing dough.
Oh, I've never had that. I bet that was good.
Oh, we are big jelly makers.
Yeah.
For Christmas, I got my wife, and I know you're not supposed to get your wife appliances for Christmas, but she loves making jellies,
Yeah.
and we sell them. and she does a lot of pepper jelly as well. So
Hmm.
it's like
Oh,
it's a ball jelly maker. It's not as big as I thought it was going to be, but it stirs it for you.
Oh.
So if you stop stirring jelly, that's when it starts to stick and all that
Mhm.
stuff. And so it's like it makes the jelly for you. You add the pectin and it stirs it. It looks like a big crock pot. So
Wow.
and I've got about 10 1 gallon bags of figs from 2023 that
Mm.
I need to defrost and make some jelly.
Yum.
So you don't have figs at your place yet, Tracy?
I do.
You do have okay.
oh,
I got figs. Yep. I have.
This is the longest we've ever gone without talking about figs.
we
And
made it. We did good. Now
it's the
I was
for
longest
the
we've gone.
finale.
up though. I was gonna make sure it come up. So I've got Celeste, O'Rourke, Papa John,
That's
Green.
my favorite.
Which one?
O'Rourke.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
I got Green Isha. Who else do I have?
That's a
I have
famous one.
who? LSU Purple.
Yeah.
LSU. And O'Rourke is from LSU originally too. It's part of the LSU breeding
It's
program.
actually named after the guy who
Yeah.
developed Ed O'Rourke. It's actually named. He's the godfather of figs.
Oh,
You know.
I see. I didn't know that. I don't know my fig history now.
Oh yeah, you can go on a deep dive. It's
There's
Yeah.
deep.
some, yeah, figs have some great provenances associated with them for sure.
Yes.
I
Yes.
heard you talking about it. I was very interested in. So I was going to ask you. I have room for one more fig.
Oh.
Just one.
Who? Who
Okay.
should? Well, right now.
I know. I'm being
So
Who
facetious.
should I
you
choose?
got 15 acres, Tracy. You can have a lot
I
more
do.
figs.
I do. I'm talking about for this. We're doing a new addition to the potager, and it's going to be a fruit wall, huh? It's going to be a fruit wall all the way around the addition.
Oh,
I love it.
I
Evaluate,
love it. Hmm.
evaluate apples and pears and Oriental persimmons, and then the north east side of the wall is going to be figs, and then the other side of the wall is muscadines
Oh
and
wow,
and kiwi. So my whole wall will be figs and then I mean fruit, and then on the inside of it, it's going to be like market garden style squares, garden
I
square.
love it.
So that's the.
Love it.
So I've got room for one more fig in this new edition. Who should I choose?
Phil, you
Oh,
pick. Deal,
you want me to pick? I
dealer's
think
choice.
I think we should get like a nice French variety for the
Okay,
protege.
for the protege,
Ooh.
yeah,
And there, do we want to go dark or light? Like, do
So
we want,
yeah.
because right now you have green Ischia, which is that is an island off the coast of Italy, and that's where that originated on the island of Ischia. And it's a
Okay.
beautiful, it's a green exterior, red interior, so they call it an Adriatic type fig, and
So good.
so
Love,
good. It's
love.
almost got like nice strawberry tones to the flesh, and then it's like,
Mm.
oh, it's jammy in and of itself. You have an O'Rourke, you have a
you
Celeste,
don't
you have your sugar figs.
you don't have a
Mhm.
black mission. You don't have a black mission fig.
I don't have a black mission.
But we might
I
want to go dark. I think there's a really nice one. Obviously, I've been talking a lot about Rhone de Bordeaux, and it's a very cold hardy one as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've heard
are
of
you
then
that one.
selling Rudy cuttings already, Phil?
I don't have rooted stuff ready yet. I can check
Okay.
my inventory. I'm going to launch stuff. I'm aiming for May. April's a little soon. I want to have like vigorous trees, so when I ship them out, people can just plop them in and they take off.
Mm-hmm.
April, they're awake, but they're still kind of Um, I would also say there's one called Noir de Barbentain, and it's just a town that's like a dark one, and that is really delicious.
Okay. I like
And
that.
then and then there's another, obviously, and Destin has a few of these. I could go on for hours, and
No,
so like
please go ahead.
I want to isolate. There's Col de Dames and Montserrat Pons found of these. They originated in the Balearic Islands, so Ibiza, Menorca, Majorca of Spain, but they were brought over to France. And the Col de Dame means collar of the lady, so it was based off of the shape of the fig um, with its base, right? And that is, Destin has two of them now. My favorite fig of all time, the Col de Dames. It tastes like raspberry jam, and that's the only way you can describe it. It has a nice acidic bite to the flavor. I think we're okay. We're sold. I think that's the one you're going to go with.
Spell it for
So,
me.
yeah, spell.
Spell.
Col, Col, and then de dame, so de of, and then dame, dame, the lady, collar of the lady, Col de dame. and they have slight. We have there's a noir, a blanc, a gris. They have the same flavor profiles, just different colorations.
Now, are these available? Like, can you find these like commonly, or you have to get them online, like as cuttings, or
You can get
how
them.
easy are they? How easy are they to
Those are
find?
not easy to get. There are a few varieties out there. Like I will be selling them. Um, One Green World has them. I know they have the Coldedons. I know Figbid. If you go on figbid.com, that's a can of worms, but they
Oh
have
my
all
god!
the rare varieties you could ever think of on figbid.com. They
It's
also
like
have other types
eBay. It's like
just
eBay
for figs,
for figs. Well, they have other stuff too.
and they
They
have
like
others too.
mulberries and pineapple. What is it? The kiwi berries and stuff like that. They do random stuff like that every once in a
And they
while.
got pomegranates and some other stuff on there. I got
Yeah,
bananas from there once.
yeah, definitely check out fig.
So, are you going to have this fig available in May?
I will. I'll have a few of them ready. The Coldedon Blancs.
Okay, I'll just wait and get one from you then.
Okay.
Very cool. I'm excited about that. You said
Yeah.
raspberry jam, and that's it.
That's
That's
it.
what I
If
want.
you go through my Instagram videos, you'll see me eat a few of them, and sometimes I like laugh after I eat them because I was like, "How is that a thing?" But then it's like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
that,
Okay.
that's always the thing with figs is let them get almost overripe into
Mm,
where because
Yeah,
I think it was you, Phil. You were describing it was like they're already a jelly. You let
mm,
them get ripe enough, and
so good.
hopefully you beat the birds to
you
them.
just get some good crusty bread and just slap it on there, and you're like,
Put
"That's
on
all
there.
you need."
That's right. With a little
Um,
cream cheese. That's so good.
so
Yeah.
I have found you are talking about the Greenisha. I've got the LSU Gold. That's probably my. I've got the LSU Gold and the White Marseille that do
Hmm.
pretty well, and I found that they're very like they're lighter. They're green, almost yellow white.
Yeah.
And the birds don't mess with them as much.
Really?
I think
I heard it's they get duped out, they get thrown off by the color.
they think if you go with a green or a white, a lot of the times that they will not know that it's ripe.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes they catch it on the droop. Everybody
Yeah.
knows the fig droop
Hmm.
is.
Yeah.
If you don't know by now, when a fig, an unripe fig, is filled with latex, and once it's ripening, all the latex gets sucked out of the fig, and it starts to get that droop. And when you touch it, and it all you have to do is barely touch it, and it falls off. That's when it's ripe.
Huh.
Oh,
Um, and so my LSU golds rarely get messed with by those freaking mockingbirds. I mean, the mockingbirds are the worst for me.
yeah.
But they always leave my white Marseille and my LSU gold. And I gotta say, from my experience, it works. I don't know about the green Isha though.
I have to fight the birds off of it, off of all of mine. I
Yeah.
have to scare tape. We tie scare tape to all our figs.
Oh,
So
that's good.
Helps. It helps.
yeah, I've tried a couple of things. I think the best thing that works for me, I've got these owls.
Mm,
I've got these spinning. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if these work or not yet. I just got them this year. They go on top of a pole, and it's these clear owls with like holographic eyes going all around it, and they spin with the wind. And so I'm
okay.
gonna try those out this year.
That
Um,
scare me away.
That would
yeah,
scare all of my
yes,
children away immediately.
right. But the best bet, this is where a portage garden will come in handy.
Potager.
Pot, that's not port, it's potage. I gotta say it,
Potager.
potage. Well, it's right there by your backyard, right by your back door. So
Mhm.
you're gonna walk out and check it first thing in the morning. Check
Yeah.
it late in the evening, so you can beat the birds to it.
Yeah. Walk out the door screaming.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Well,
I'll sip my coffee. My problem is squirrels. So I'll sip my coffee and they make eye contact. We make eye contact, and they taunt me. And so I'm like, "You're gonna do this? We're gonna do this right now. I'm gonna run outside in my PJs." But sometimes you have to.
you know,
Sometimes I have to.
Phil, I can't imagine how good of a squirrel would taste if he's been fattening up on figs.
Oh
I
Mhm.
my
bet that
gosh.
squirrel would taste good. I bet he would taste good, dude.
I could make a stew that would feed the whole neighborhood with the amount of squirrels I have
Do
that
you
I've
really have that
attracted,
many?
probably.
Oh my god.
I have enough where my dad looked up and he's like, Phil, there's three nests in this tree right here. And I was like, I know.
Yeah, we have a lot of squirrels.
Luckily, I don't have any squirrels. I don't have any squirrels in my neighborhood yet. But if I do, when I do get them, I won't have them for long. Let's just say that. Uh, uh,
We have a thicket between the other house and ours, and I call it the nature tax because I get all kinds of birds and it's like beautiful. I have a turtle that somehow gets into my yard. I don't know where because our
The
yard's
same
fenced in.
turtle?
Just one turtle. We call
One.
him Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda, and he just comes and goes. And
Wow.
we have some bunnies that come in, but the squirrels, they figured it out. They know where all the figs are,
Mm.
and they have to share a little bit more because they're bogarting it now.
That is my rule of thumb. It's like, nature is gonna get the tax man's gonna get his cut. So just
Mm-hmm.
plant
Right.
more, plant more.
Plant more, feed the wildlife.
Absolutely. Where I'm at, it was all rice fields before, so I'm sure they were here long before I was. So,
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
oh my goodness. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all coming on. We're over an hour now.
Wow. Goes
It,
by
it it
fast.
always flies by
Yeah,
super
it
fast.
does.
It always does.
Yeah.
Phil, let everybody know where they can find you. If you got cuttings available on your site, let them know what you got going on.
Hey everyone, you can find me at all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, philsfigs.com. I do have some cuttings left for sale, but I'm going to start pulling them down so I can start rooting my own trees so I can have them ready for summertime for everybody.
Yeah.
But reach out
Save
with any
one of,
questions. What's that?
save me one of those cold day
Cold the
dogs.
Doms. You
Yes.
got it. And if you look at my Cold Dom inventory, -1 from that.
That's right. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and Phil's got merch too at philsfigs.com. He's got Fig Daddy shirts and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah. And I'm gonna get some hats though too. I think I need some garden hats
Got
for
to get some
everybody.
hats, man. You got to get some hats. Well, Miss Tracy, thank you so much for coming on. Let everybody know where they can find you. How often do you post videos on YouTube and everything like that?
At least once a week, every Thursday, I post a long form video on YouTube. I do YouTube shorts couple a week. Instagram, Facebook. We have a website, justdigitfarms.com. And we've just released something really cool. We're doing a monthly garden newsletter. Comes out the first of every month, and just a lot of good information of what to be doing in your garden for that month. And it's free. All you got to do is just go to the website, sign up for it, and you'll get it as an email on the first of every month. I'm excited about that because I think it's going to be really helpful for a lot of,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is your full time. This is what you do full time now, right?
It is.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is that is
My
awesome.
husband makes the money, so
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
able to do this full time.
I like I try to get my wife more involved in videos, but like
Yeah.
she's a teacher, she wants nothing to do with it. But I tell her like couples do so much better on YouTube. You got to
Yeah.
get on there with me.
I'm telling you, the ladies love my Gene.
Oh my
They like
goodness.
for him to get on there and sing, and he's just naturally, normally crazy and silly. And I'm very, I want to teach you something. I want to help you. I want it to be education, and this is what we're doing. And he's in the background being crazy,
Oh
and
my
they
gosh.
love that. So
Well, and y'all have been doing it for 34 years. I saw it was 33 or 34 years.
we've been married for 33 years. Yeah, and we dated
Wow.
4 years.
Nice.
So
And,
yeah,
and y'all work together on the homestead and don't drive each other absolutely crazy. Is
we
that
love it, man. That's what we enjoyed. We work on the farm for fun. That's what we do for fun around here. So
Hmm.
absolutely?
we love our days together out here. Yeah, tell them about our vacation. Yeah, we got a vacation
Oh,
up.
that's
We're going
goals right
to
there. Living your
uh-huh.
vacation spot.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh, that's I'm planning a trip where I might be driving to North Carolina. So I might be driving through Alabama and possibly going to Wilmington. So we'll maybe see if we can get together maybe this fall when I'm coming through that area.
Hey, let me tell you about
Let's
something
do
real
it.
quick.
Oh,
So,
y'all have an event, right? Y'all have a thing
yeah,
coming.
we have an
Yes.
event. I was going to invite you to it. So, we have a spring event coming up on the 20th at Petals from the Past, and we do a YouTubers meet and greet.
Right.
And then in the fall, we started this last year, and we're calling it the Great Fall Garden Festival. It's going to be on September the 14th. And we'd love for y'all to come participate with us.
Oh
It's a lot of
man.
fun. It's at Petals from the Past. And you can set up and sell stuff, or you can just come and just hang out and meet fans and followers. And we just have a good time. It was a lot of fun last year.
is there like a already a page, like an event thing already for it?
There he is. Yep. We haven't updated it for this year yet.
Okay,
We usually wait till the spring event's over, and
right.
then we start boosting that out because people get a little confused about it. But it's just called the Great Fall Garden
Great.
Festival.com. You can see some of the information about it.
I'll put a I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah.
And I guess Phil, we can make it official that well, it's nothing's official yet, but
Nothing's official yet.
we are in the works with possibly doing something down here,
Nice.
possibly called Figtoberfest
Figtoberfest.
in
That's fun.
October.
Yeah.
Getting
That's
getting
fun.
getting
That
Phil.
we there's nothing like you could make a good pun with anything with fig in
Oh
Yeah.
it,
yeah.
and like we kept. I think that was like one of the first things we said. We're like, how about October? Like, how about Figtoberfest? And everyone's like, yep, that's what it's called.
Well,
That's
I'm typically getting a bunch of figs that time of year. You know, we could do some
that's fun.
classes and stuff. So I think
Cool.
we nothing is official yet, but we are. There's an email chain with some official people. So,
Nice.
Rumbles.
but there's rumblings. We'll see.
But the
Well,
Great Fall Garden Festival.com.
Yep.
yes. Yep.
Well, if you
Well,
can't make it to that and you're coming through in the fall, let me know.
I
Maybe
will. I
Ja-
will.
Jason at Cog Hill and Nick
Yes.
and Jean will get together.
Absolutely. I would love that. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
fun.
Cool. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for coming on. Thank you
Thank
everybody
you.
for watching, and I will put links for everybody's information in the video. The video will be on YouTube and Spotify tomorrow. So I appreciate it so much. Don't hang up. I'm gonna hit stop recording. Or I'm gonna hit stop live. Hold on a second.